Live from my garage, it's the HustleGrind Podcast. You're listening to episode 1, and it is going to be evident throughout that it is the first episode. It's my first time back behind the microphone for some time, and it's going to be a bit of a challenge, so bear with me here. Well, here I am again, starting a new blog and website. The website is called HustleGrind, and we're found at www.HustleGrind.net, and it is a blog about earning extra money. And for some people, that can be in a lot of different forms. For example, something I've looked into for a long period of time is online and affiliate marketing, trying to make money online and supplement my current income. For others, it may just be a side hustle of some kind, whether it's, selling some extra things on the side, maybe on eBay, maybe on Etsy, that sort of thing. And for yet others, it may mean turning a small business idea into reality. And so the goal of HustleGrind.net is to be a resource for those people, and we're going to tell some success stories from entrepreneurs and small business people, and try to inspire you and others to start your own. So why and how did this all start? Mostly I got into this online marketing thing by reading the website of Pat Flynn. And if you don't know who Pat Flynn is, you've probably been living under a rock for quite some time. And he's done a blog now since about 2008 about making money online. And the blog is called smartpassiveincome.com. One of the things he talks about a lot on there is how to establish yourself as an authority in a particular field, and how to provide value to your readers, to grow your email list, to grow your readership so that you can get these folks enrolled in some affiliate programs. And we're going to cover affiliate marketing a little bit later on in today's podcast. But just wanted to give a shout out to Pat, and boy, I think we could all aspire to be as successful as him, and he's really contributed a lot to this particular space. So Pat's been a big influence for me, and my goal is to one day have him on this show, so we'll see about that. I know he gets a lot of requests, and we'd love to have him by, but that will come on another day. So one thing I wanted to talk a little bit about was, and this is sort of an atypical episode, being that it's the first one. My name is Andrew Rocco, and I'm the founder here at HustleGrind, and this whole idea was born out of my desire to get out of student loan debt. I am a millennial. I know it's sort of a curse word these days, but I'm in some ways I'm similar. Well-educated, but deeply in student loan debt. But the difference is I'm not trying to blame anyone else for my problems. So one of the common complaints you hear about millennials is that we're all, we're deep in student loan debt and can't find jobs. Well, I have a job, and I have a good paying job, but I also have a disproportionately high amount of student loans. So, looking forward, really, there wasn't a way that I could see where I was going to pay off my student loans in less than 20 years. And I wasn't interested in that. Now, I will say I'm a big Dave Ramsey fan. Not his star pupil by any means, but I'm a big fan. I think he does a great job with his teachings, and I do try to adhere to those to some degree. And really, a lot of what he says is true. You have to be on a budget. You have to really put your dollars to work. But I wasn't satisfied with just, going through life applying whatever is extra out of my paycheck. I want to be building something. And so the idea of entrepreneurism and online marketing and that sort of thing really appealed to me. And so you can ask my wife, I've been trying this, that, and the other various different scams and schemes to make money online. And, the mistake I've made most times is focusing more on the money than on the value that I'm providing my readers. that's a common thing you're going to see out there. People, and me included, I would start these blogs and I would throw some Google ads on there and, a link to the Bluehost, affiliate program, try to get some people to sign up and maybe put together a how to make money blogging, article and think that by just throwing that on the internet, I'm going to get this magical stream of traffic and income. And so really, what you have to do is the way that you're going to gain your readers is you're going to provide them value on a regular basis. It's kind of that concept of really providing them with value until you get to the point where you need to sell them something, and it's something that's going to improve their lives, and that you may make a commission on. So, it's a win-win situation. It's not like you're selling them something or recommending them something that they don't need. And so, for me, it used to be back in the day that what I thought was to sort of the hustle and grind was just going out, leaving the cave, killing something, and dragging it home. And you can do that these days. It's a little bit different and how that looks. But I just talked with a guy, talked to them earlier today. I also sell residential real estate on the side as one of my little side hustles, kind of a random one. We'll talk more about that too. But he told me that he's going to be in his 80s, and he told me that years and years ago he lived in this area and he didn't have a job, and so he hopped in his car, drove around, and ended up at a gravel pit, a quarry, basically, and talked with the gentleman who owned it, and asked for a job. And he says, "Well, what kind of job are you looking for?" And he says, "Really, any job. I just need to make some money here." And the guy apparently was so fed up with running the place that he told him, "For $500 a month, I'll let you do whatever you want with this gravel yard." And so he thought about it, and he took him up on the offer, and ended up that from the gravel lot there was a good view of the mountains and an enormous amount of timber. And so this guy basically transformed this place into a lumber yard and ended up turning around and selling it for millions of dollars. So, what used to happen by just hopping in the car, driving around and meeting some people, the hustle and the grind, if you will, it doesn't exist quite like that anymore. It's usually things just sell to the top bidder, and it's usually some sort of corporate money or family money that can buy something like that. But I think the parallel to that in today's modern times would be the internet. You can go on the internet, and the barrier to entry into the market is lower than it's ever been. You can start an eBay store, you can start an Etsy store, you can start a blog, you can start any other e-commerce type store using some services out there. And we're talking, either free or very, very cheap. So it's not like you have to go get some small business loan and buy a bunch of equipment and do all that just to run a business. So the barrier to entry is very, very low at this point, and that's kind of what we're working with here at Hustle and Grind. Is we're going to try to provide you with some resources to be successful in a market that you want to get into. So something to look forward to in the coming months here. We're going to continue doing this podcast, but we also want to continue bringing you solid articles and blog posts on how you can be successful in business. And one of my big aims is to try to get other people who have been successful in that and get them on the show for interviews or get them on the website for interviews so that you can learn a little bit about their success and try to emulate that. So, boy, I feel like I've been rambling, and largely I suppose I have. And I think part of it is I feel somewhat like a lunatic just sitting here in my garage staring at my minivan. And for those of you, to quote Dave Ramsey, looking deeply into your radios, you'll see I've got my dark blue bed sheet covering up the Gorilla Rack in my garage, and I'm sitting here in front of a USB microphone situated on a card table while I look at my Honda Odyssey sitting in the garage. So really, really professional setup here. But they say most of the best things started out in someone's garage. I mean, you look at Bill Gates, for example, but also I would say that a lot of very ill-advised ideas by men also have started out in garages. So time will tell. Anyway, I suppose. My friend and I actually used to do a podcast, and we learned a lesson on that. And we used to run a website that just kind of was a satirical news site / rants. It was basically just us complaining, a bunch of middle school angst back in the day. And we found we never had any traffic. And probably a lot of it was that we were terrible at writing, and the subject matter was just pretty much boring. But I think part of it, too, is we didn't really have a specific thing we were talking about. So when we threw together the podcast, it was a lot of fun, fun to catch up with him. He lives in California now. We'd spend a good half hour to an hour over Skype just recording a podcast. But it kind of fizzled out. It's because no one listened. And the reason no one listened, other than the personalities being, amateurish and terrible, is really there wasn't any content. There wasn't a particular niche or keyword that the show was targeting. And so that's the lesson I've learned, and that's what I'm trying to apply to this show. We're going to talk about extra income or ways to generate extra income, so side hustles, small business ideas, and we're going to talk about making money online. And so one of the big ways that people are making money online is with affiliate marketing. And for those of you that don't know, I'd like to go through and explain a little bit what affiliate marketing is and how that looks like, and what that looks like and how that's going to translate into passive income for your business. So, affiliate marketing. So, I've got some services I really like. For example, when I buy web hosting, I almost exclusively buy it through Bluehost. They can be found at bluehost.com or through our website, of course, HustleGrind.net. Now, Bluehost is a great service. Their hosting is top-notch, and it's really good pricing for someone who's just getting into blogging. You can install a blog with one click. Really, you can be up and running with your website in about 5 minutes. So ease of use is a huge, huge benefit from that. And I started with them, and I still use them. I've got a higher up service that provides a little bit more, speed for my website and some other features that, I didn't need when I was so new. But I recommend them for a number of reasons. One is I use them. I like them. They have great support. They're a good company. And you're going to find there's a lot of folks out there who use them for their affiliate programs. So anyway, more about Bluehost in a little bit. But the point is, I like Bluehost. I recommend it to my friends. I also recommend it to my readers. And so if I send one of my readers and they click through a link on my website, it's going to take them over to the Bluehost page, and it's going to give me credit for getting them over there. So I'm going to gain a commission off anyone who signs up for that service. And I know you say the word commission and it just kind of turns everyone off to the idea, but you're not selling someone something they don't need. You're talking with people and you're saying, hey, I know you want to start a blog. I know you want to start this website for your business. You need a web host. And these are the folks I use, and they're fantastic. So you should check them out. And what they've learned is that by offering a really strong affiliate program, meaning offering people who refer friends a very, very good, commission on that, they can do a lot of business. And so Bluehost has figured that out, and they offer a really, a really attractive commission on those affiliate, referrals. So the thing that people fail to do, though, is they think they can just throw up a blog post on how to make a blog using Bluehost, and all of a sudden they're going to start having this traffic streaming in. And what Pat Flynn teaches us is that no one's going to buy anything from you, unless they trust you. And so really establishing that trust is your primary goal. So you can do affiliate programs for everything. Bluehost, other types of hosting programs, email services like Aweber, Constant Contact, etc. Really it's endless. There's different like logo services out there. There's products. You can do like an Amazon affiliate program where if someone buys a particular product through you on Amazon, then you get a certain commission. And really the list goes on and on. And this is a big one for people to monetize their websites. So affiliate marketing is still alive and well, and I do recommend it. But you have to make sure that you're not just there to make the sale. And that's a big problem that a lot of people have, is just trying to make that sale. So the next question I get, of course, well, how do you gain people's trust? Well, it's simple. but it's not simple at the same time. You have to provide them with value on a regular basis for free. And I know that can be hard because very few of us have a year to spend building a website and building a following. But what you have to do is think of it as an investment into your future. If you can get the trust and readership of many, many folks, and they want to help you and they want to purchase products that you recommend, that's how you're going to generate passive income in the future. And that's, again, a concept that Pat Flynn teaches in depth. So if you're wanting to learn more about that specifically, you got to head over to smartpassiveincome.com and read some of Pat's stuff. And of course, we're going to be doing some similar stuff to try and help you succeed online with affiliate marketing. So that was just one thing that I wanted to cover for those of you who aren't familiar with the concept, is how affiliate marketing works and how folks make their money. Now, that said, plug for Bluehost. I do use them. They're fantastic. And if you are interested in starting your own blog or website, I would highly recommend you check them out. So best way for you to do that is going to be go over to our page there at HustleGrind.net and look under our resources tab. And there you're going to find a little link for Bluehost. Really, really affordable. And it's something you should look into for sure if you're looking for a good web host for your website. So if you're interested in doing that, we'd be really appreciative if you'd click through and learn more and see if that's something that suits you. And of course, check out our articles on setting up your Bluehost account and getting your blog up and running. So that's end of shameless plug number 1. Many more to come at some point. And I don't know. It's your choice, of course. But if you need to get a web host. Refreshing water. Thank you. Okay. Well, anyway. Little pressed for content here, as this is our first episode, but one thing I wanted to talk about as I breathe loudly into the microphone, another rookie mistake, is sort of this what I call failure to launch. And I said more eloquently in a post that I wrote, more eloquently than I'll say here on the air, the biggest reason that people fail is the fear of failing itself. And so people are afraid or intimidated by starting a small business. They think that they need to form some really elaborate legal structure like an LLC or an S Corp or something, or an incorporation or something like that. They think they need to pay legal fees or do something fancy with their taxes. And it's stopping people from putting together really simple businesses to earn some extra side money, because the fear of the unknown. They don't know what it's like to run a business. They think it's this big, nebulous, scary thing. And what I want to tell you and what I want to communicate today and with my website at HustleGrind.net is that you don't have to be scared. And some of those things do need to be addressed. Taxes need to be addressed. You need to pay your taxes. Maybe you do need an LLC, or maybe you do need a corporate structure of some kind, but what you need to do first is just start. And it's like I said, the barrier to entry is low. If you make a craft, for the ladies out there or even the guys, if you make a craft and you have friends that buy it, you should put it on Etsy. You should put it on eBay. It's likely that if your friends want to buy it and they would recommend it to their friends, that you could sell quite a bit online. And really all you need is an email address and a bank account, and you can get started with Etsy. So, hey, if you become the world's largest manufacturer of handbags or something, and you want to form an, LLC or some other company structure, that's great. I hope you have that problem. But in your infancy, it's not even worth worrying about, frankly, unless you're in a particularly litigious field where, you think you're about to get sued all the time, or if you have substantial net worth to begin with, which is not a problem that most people reading a website on making extra income online are going to have. So, that's my thing, is you got to just start. And really the biggest thing about starting is, you're going to read a lot about making a business plan and going through all this stuff. And business plans are good. You should write a business plan if you can. But not everyone needs to write a business plan. That's my honest opinion. And I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate mail for that. But the reality is if you've got a product or a concept or an idea and you want to market it, just market it. Start with your friends, start with your network. That's how most things start. For example, I sell residential real estate, and most of my transactions so far, starting last year in September, have come through my network, my internal sphere of influence. And so that's going to be the same thing if you, say, sell a product. You hear a lot of people selling, for example, handmade soaps. Well, you've got a bunch of people who buy your soaps already. So why not extend your reach, get online, and start selling that to people across the nation? Because then you've got people that out of the area. You can ask them to make some purchases if they want to support you. Your family can reach out to their sphere, or your friends can reach out to their sphere across the country, and they can start ordering your product. And before you know it, you're starting to build up a lot of reviews, a lot of positive feedback, and that referral basis. People are going to go out and try to get you business if they really, really like your product and your service. So just by putting yourself out there, you may have a really successful business on your hands that you wouldn't have otherwise known about if you never really started. So I think there's a lot of people with tons of potential that never start, and so they never succeed in their particular business venture. So we have to get you out there. We have to get you started. And the same is true of blogging and podcasting. I mean, I seriously, I feel like a complete weirdo sitting here in my garage, 9:00 at night, sitting in front of a camera with my card table and my laptop. But, looking at Pat Flynn's article on starting podcasting, and really it applies to so many other things, is you just have to commit. And that's what I'm doing. I'm committing. And you need to do the same, because I know you have a business idea that could be a huge success. I think that's enough sort of philosophical rambling at this point. I'd love to have in the next episode maybe an interview or a reader question to cover, because I do feel a little bit weird just talking to myself in my garage. But currently, it's just kind of a one-man show here, so to speak. One thing I wanted to do too is just talk through one of my articles I wrote recently, and it's titled something like, I don't have it in front of me, but something like how I made $700 in profit by flipping toner cartridges. You may be wondering, and you've heard the term flipping before, but how do you flip a toner cartridge? Well, I guess it's kind of a misnomer, because I'm not actually doing anything to them. I'm just reselling them. But what I found was I was in college, and I would go to the surplus store there on campus, and it was basically all the excess or disused items, furniture, computer equipment, cars, really anything, books. You could buy anything there that the university no longer wanted. They had to surplus it out. So I remember I went in there one time. I think it was to look for some lab equipment, like a centrifuge or something like that. And I go in there, and I walk by the computer section, and I'm kind of a computer nerd, so I was fascinated by all the old computer equipment and that stuff. And then I stumbled upon the section of toner, boxes of toner from different printers that hadn't even been opened. The seal was still intact and everything. And every single one was on sale for $25. And I know just kind of from experience that it's hard to find anything for under $25 at an office supply store. So being the genius that I am, I decided to look on eBay, where I had actually bought some ink before, some toner, and see what those things were selling for. And lo and behold, I found that some of them were selling for well over $100. And so that was sort of my first successful side hustle. I said, hey, I can get these on eBay. I can sell these and I can make a profit. And for the most part, I did. I carefully selected the ones that I thought could sell for a profit based on previous eBay sales. And I sold almost all of them. There were a couple that didn't move very well for me, but I was able to buy quite a few. And over the course of just a few months, on the side, while I was a full-time student and working a part-time job, I was able to sell these toner cartridges with almost no effort. Take a couple pictures, throw them on eBay, put down the printers that they work for, and then when someone bought it, I'd wrap it in brown paper and throw an address label on it and take it to the post office. So, I was paying $25, and then adding, $10 in shipping, depending on the size, and sending it out. And so for $35, I'm into this thing selling for over 100. I've got a serious profit margin here. And I also found some other stuff. There were copier parts and components there that would occasionally go up for sale that I could sell for even more. So what I thought was I could continue this, and I sort of fell off the map with it because I was getting so busy with school. But I mean, if you live next to a university, or even if you're one of those weirdos that lives between a couple of universities, you got to check out their surplus store, because it can be an untapped gold mine that people aren't really looking at. And there's a lot of stuff there that you could potentially resell. So check out our article, how I made over $700 flipping toner cartridges, to learn how a more step-by-step process of how to price them and where to find them and all that sort of thing. But really, this could be a pretty lucrative, side hustle. And if you're selling 5 or 6 a month, you could add an extra $500 to your bottom line every month when you're making your budget. So, it's not an evergreen source of income. Eventually, you're going to buy out all the toner that's worth anything and sell it, but it's just sitting there for the taking. So you got to check out the article, and you're going to find that at HustleGrind.net, our website here at HustleGrind. So we don't really have, it's not set in stone yet how often we're going to do this podcast. I'm going to try to keep it to about a half an hour, because listening to me for any longer than that is probably just dangerous, frankly. And I would like to have maybe a reader question next time. Maybe arrange an interview with someone that's making money online, or with some other side hustle type situation, and try to have someone else talk, maybe other than just myself. But if it's just me next time, I'm still doing it. So now I just feel like I'm trying to fill time, because here I am at minute 27. And I'm trying to get to minute 30, and now talking about filling time seems to be filling time quite nicely, but it almost seems worse to try and do that. So we're going to learn some lessons together here while we do this podcast, because I really have no idea what I'm doing, but it's a lot of fun. And again, even though I feel like a complete nutcase for sitting here in my garage, in front of a bed sheet on a card table, this is where we're going to start, and we're going to see what it grows into. So, hey, I really appreciate you joining me. But what I would love so much is if you would subscribe to this podcast, give us a chance, watch me as I hopefully grow and continue to get better at broadcasting and or podcasting, I should say. And please check out our website. The website is HustleGrind.net, HUSTLE, grind.net. You can reach me at on email at andrew@hustlegrind.net if you want to send me an email message. You can also find us on social media. We're on Twitter as well as Facebook, and you can find us through our website on those avenues. And of course, we're going to be on iTunes and some other podcast directories to help you find us a little bit easier. So we're going to continue with this next week or the week after, and we're going to do a 30-minute podcast. But please check us out at HustleGrind.net, and I would appreciate your comments and feedback. Even if it's constructive criticism, I would still appreciate it, because I could use it at this point in my podcasting career. And so signing off, this is Andrew with Hustle Grind. Thank you for listening.